Good evening or good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for anybody that's been waiting since past. I will blame Jenna completely.
Blame me.
I lost track of the time. So yeah, we have had I don't know, mediocre week of wrestling. I was really excited for Grand Slam. I'm not sure most of it lived up to my expectation. But first of all, Jenna, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Good. So we'll start with Grand Slam, I think. Like I say, I was really excited. They've been building it up for weeks, and although it was okay, it was the matches that I didn't expect to be very good that came out the best, which is bizarre. So, Nigel McGuinness came to the ring, and for his match against Brian Danielson, so he came out first. Daniel Bryan's old music hit, and then nobody came through. So Nigel got on the mic to call him a coward, and then Final Countdown hit. That was a bizarre thing that I don't think they really needed to do, but hey ho. I thought it was a really good match for what it was. It was very back and forth and believable for either man to win. Nigel was really impressive on his first singles match back, and I look forward to see what happens with him going forward. In the end, Brian Danielson won by submission. Christian Cage then came out with a contract in hand, but as he got the pen out of his pocket to sign the contract to cash it in, Kip Sabian actually came up behind him, nicked the pen, and then ran away. That was a bizarre ending. I kind of liked it. I suppose it is a little bit different. Just a bit weird. So next up. So did you see any of it?
I've seen clips.
Okay.
I've seen something for a change.
Okay.
We have hope.
So next up was Roderick Strong and Hook. It was really short. It was okay. It fell short of being a good match. It was just somewhere in the middle. After the match, obviously, the bigger news is after the match, Hook came out of the ring, came onto the mic, and retired the FTW Championship, or if you can call it a championship, a title, if it even is a title, but it's not a title anymore because it's no longer there. He then passes it back to Taz, and that's it. That's it for the FTW Championship. I think probably Hook will be better off without it. It didn't really add much to him other than he had a fake title. But I think people have been calling for that for a while. So that was that. Then actually, the match of the night, one of the ones that, for me anyway, one of the ones that I didn't really think would be great, but it caught me by surprise. So next up was Ospreay and Fletcher against the Young Bucks. It was a really great tag team match. Real back and forth contest with lots going on, making it enjoyable to watch. Young Bucks did dominate most of the matchup. Ospreay and Carl Fletcher looked like they were going to win at one stage, but then Don Callis passed a screwdriver to Carl Fletcher. Will stops them from doing that. While everything's going on, the Young Bucks use the title as a weapon while the ref's back is turned. And then they hit Carl with it as well, but there was a kick out. But with Carl still dazed, the Young Bucks hit a double super kick to pick up the win. Again, I wouldn't say it was amazing, but it was easily the best match of the night. Then we had the second best thing to happen. Prince Nana was coming out and saying that Swerve Strickland's not ready to come back. But he is fighting every day. Then out comes MVP to make his AEW debut. Gave a card and told him to pass it on to Swerve Strickland so they could talk business. That was really exciting, although that was ruined before I actually got around to watching it. So next up was Mariah May, and I'm just going to go with Yuka because I've got no idea how to pronounce the second name. Sakazaki. So this was again a pretty short matchup. So Mariah May retained the title, and at the end of the match, Willow Nightingale came out to stop Mariah May hitting Yuka with a belt. So that was that one. Again, like it was weird because it was billed as if it was a pay-per-view, but then actually when you came around to watching it, it was almost still like it was like Dynamite with a couple of matches that were a little bit more exciting than they normally are. So John Moxley and Darby Allin was the main event. Darby Allin got bloodied up very early. John Moxley took advantage of that and went to town on Darby Allin, really, which was a shame. It was dominated mostly by Moxley. At one stage, Moxley and Shafir exposed the hard floor from outside the ring, and then Darby Allin ended up hitting the floor with a suicide dive when Moxley moved out of the way. That was kind of the beginning of the end. Moxley won and gained the title shot, which if I was Darby Allin, I'd be really, really pissed off that it's just been taken off me. Brian Danielson then showed up after the match and attacked Moxley. And then the show ended by Brian Daniels saying, "I'm going to kick your head in." Really not the match I expected it to be. I was kind of disappointed. And then, like I say, also a bit annoyed that they took the title challenge off of Darby. So yeah, that was that. And then quickly going over to Collision as well, which was last night. We had the Saraya Rules match, which was bizarre. She smacked Jamie Hayter over the head with the tape player at one point, then hit her on the back with a keyboard. Toy cars were placed on tables. It was just a mess. Jamie Hayter did win the match though. The rest of the night was pretty shit. Learning Tree won in a trios match. Brody King won in a singles match. Jack Perry's open challenge. Suzuki came out, but Jack Perry won. The trios championship stayed with Claudio Pac and Wheeler. There was a Lucha Libre match, which was probably the match of the night for me, but it really wasn't anything special. The strap match was won by Adam Page, and then Okada won in the main event, which made that eliminator completely pointless. So yeah, I think they messed up. Really messed up. Have you got any thoughts about from what you saw?
I haven't seen any of Collision because I got home for like midnight yesterday, so I haven't really watched anything.
Okay, so it was. Don't waste your time going back to watch it.
I wasn't going to.
It wasn't good.
Nothing stood out to me.
Yeah, they've been building it up for weeks and weeks and weeks, acting as though it's going to be amazing, and it was just awful.
I just don't understand the point of Osprey and Fletcher teaming. I still haven't understood it.
Well, to be fair, at a lot of points towards the end of that match, I thought they were actually going to win.
That's the thing. I just don't understand why they did it to begin with, though.
No, it's never made much sense.
Like, it's obvious Will hates the Don Callis family, yet he's still teaming with them.
Yeah,
Make it make sense.
I think it was a bit pointless to even have them win the the gauntlet match in the first place, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't get why they were in the gauntlet match.
Yeah, it was like
they just shoved them in there.
I'm going to call in the favour that like you owe us, and I'm like, I'd have called it in at a time that like they actually
called it like a bigger stage. Surely.
Yeah. But then it even made it even more confusing when I did actually think they were going to win, but obviously they didn't in the end, which would have been even more pointless.
I don't get why they would have won.
Yeah, it's a weird one. It's a weird one, but obviously that's the end to that.
Hopefully.
And so yeah, that was AEW side. Completely killed my whole vibe when I was watching it, thinking, "Oh, this is going to be great," and it really wasn't. So, to be honest, hate to break it to you all, but Raw and SmackDown was pretty much the same. So yeah, it's been a little bit of a chore to watch it this week, which is a shame. I haven't said that in quite a while though, which is good. So starting with Raw, Dom and Liv arrive in like this flash lowrider car. Braun Strowman has hold of Bronson Reed though, and as Liv and Dom are walking in, just drives him through the merchandise stand, which was quite cool. I do quite like what they're doing between. They normally book bigger athletes like Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed, put them together and then ruin it, but they're doing something really good at the minute with this one. So that's pleasing. Dom and Liv start the show on the mic. We kind of know what's going to happen here. So basically, it's just tell it. The thing is, this is a weird one because we already knew that it has already been up on the graphics that Dom was going to be hanging in the shark cage for the match between Liv and Rhea. But Rhea came out and said, "I've got something I need to tell you. I'm fully cleared for bad blood, but this message is for both of you. Dom, you're going to be hanging upside down in a shark cage." But it was in the graphics that happened.
Was it?
What?
Was it in the graphics?
Yeah, the graphic that they showed on, like, I'm sure it was announced like way before.
I swear they only just announced it this week.
But I already knew that he was going to be hanging hanging in the shark cage before like Rhea said that, because I'm sure I saw it on like a. So that I was looking at it, and I was like, I'm sure I knew that already.
I didn't.
Really?
No. No one I've spoke to knew it.
What?
So unless we're just delayed. Look, I've got the graphic here. He's not hanging from a shark cage.
No, it said underneath. So like on the actual image that came up just before they started speaking, it said below it that he's going to be in the shark cage. I'm going to fact check it because I'm sure, because I'm literally sure, because I remember watching it and thinking, I already knew that. Like, why have you announced that?
Oh.
So I was really confused. Either I've dreamt it up or something then. Like,
I definitely don't remember that.
Hang on.
Unless my
Right.
brain's just playing with me.
So, I don't know. I definitely knew before she said it. So even I had a sixth sense and told myself it's going to happen before it happens. I'm sure I saw a graphic somewhere beforehand that told me he was going to be in a shark cage anyway. So,
Who knows?
because I literally put this message for both of you, Dom. You're going to be hanging in a shark cage, and then my next sentence was, but I already knew that, so that's nothing new. Did they mess up and tell us before when they weren't supposed to? Yeah, so I must have seen it somewhere. I don't have a clue. I'm really looking forward to that match, to be fair. I think that's one of those that, a little bit like the first time we saw CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, it's got, as the pay-per-view said, bad blood. There was then a matchup between Sami Zayn and Ludwig Kaiser. It was a really quick one. Gunther comes out at the end of the match and does like he has been doing the last couple of weeks, and literally just comes down to the ring, says some stuff, and then says no to Sami. Like, I'm getting so bored of it.
It's your favourite thing.
It's just the same every week. Like,
You love it so much.
I don't get it. I don't know how, as a wrestler, you can think, right, every single week, if I do the same thing, people aren't going to be annoyed at me. They're just going to want to see me do that same thing every week. Like, I don't know. It's one of those, because eventually, hopefully, he'll come out eventually and say, yes, I'll have the match. But he'll probably tell us no a few more times over the next couple of weeks before that. There was a match between Dragon Lee and Carlito. That Dragon Lee won. There was supposed to be a match between the Miz and Bronson Reed, but before Bronson Reed came in, he's attacked by Braun Strowman. I'm making names up now. And they, just go to war again. Again, though, I really like that ongoing story. Drew then comes out to respond to CM Punk's words. It was pretty much a carbon copy of CM Punk's promo. Says a few different words. Going to make you suffer and feel more pain than you ever have in your entire existence. Vowed to break CM Punk permanently. Which I'm really excited about. They announced the last monster standing between Braun and Bronson Reed next week. I think they could have put it on the Bad Blood pay-per-view, to be fair, with it being a last monster standing, but hey ho. Unholy Union and Damage Control won. New Day American Made. So in my notes I've put Unholy Union versus Damage Control won, and then I've put New Day versus American Made, but Unholy Union actually won that match, even though they were in the match before. So I'm trying to think back. I think American Made won that match. And then we had the main event between Jey Uso and Braun Breaker. Obviously, everybody already knows what happened with that one. We kind of exposed it on the show last week. Again, I'm really not happy with this one, to be honest. It just makes Braun Breaker look really strong before it, and now on his second title defense, he's just lost it, and I don't know where he goes from here. So, that was Raw. NXT was a mixture of matches that were, in essence, crap. I'm being really kind today. It was their last show on the USA Network. SmackDown had it a few weeks before, where it was their last show on a network, and that was also crap. So it's following a trend there with that one. Not even going to go through what happened, because they're all just pointless matches, apart from the first one, which was Kalani Jordan retaining against Ren Sinclair. The rest were completely pointless matches. We're getting through these quick just because they're all crap. SmackDown. Randy Orton starts the show. Said it's good to be back in a SmackDown ring. Says he can count the people on one hand who he can trust. Cody is one of these people, but he finds it really weird why he's teaming with Roman. Asked Cody to come out and explain why. Basically said, this got tasked to me. Roman Reigns looked me in the eye and gave me his word. He's also given me his word when he said he'd do anything to keep his title. He wasn't lying. He gave me his word that I beat him at WrestleMania. He wouldn't show up. He wasn't lying. I'm going to take him for his word. Everyone else is going to take him for his word, referring to the fans as well. It's time for the bloodline to be killed, and I hope that's not a problem for you. Randy Orton shakes hands with Cody. Kevin Owens then interrupts, and so does Solo. And the end of that is that Kevin Owens proposes Solo and Jacob Fatu against him and Randy Orton. There is a number one contenders match for the women's title. Bayley against Naomi. Bayley wins that to face Nia Jax, and I'm sure we've seen that match about 40 times already. So I'm really excited for that one. Andrade and Carmelo Hayes are in this little series. Andrade leads the series 3-2, and Carmelo won this one to make it 3-3. I wonder whether we're going to go to like 100, because they didn't even say how many matches they're going to have. Michin versus Piper Niven. Michin picks up the win, and then we can kind of guess what happens with Randy and Kevin Owens and Solo and Jacob Fatu. They were having a normal match, and then everybody gets involved. Solo and Jacob Fatu do end up winning though. So that's literally it. I've flown for all that because it was all crap. So I'm already down on the other news section. Actually, to be fair, I am just going to add a banner to here. Because we have a new part of the show which are added in this week, and we will have every week. Well, that's as long as Jenna's here, of course. We've got a new segment. You've even got your own little banner.
Yay! I've got my own banner.
I didn't just add it just now. Like, it's been there for weeks.
Yeah, it's been there the whole time. Have this prepared.
It is. Yeah, it is. So I'm gonna leave you to it for the first edition.
Okay. Well, breaking Rev Pro news, they've just announced Robbie X versus Zack Sabre Jr. for Global Wars on October 19th in Doncaster. Because there's currently a show going on in Sheffield.
Yeah.
Because Robbie X is against Robbie Eagles right now, who's also in TMDK. So they just announced that, which is something. Yesterday was the British J Cup in Stevenage. I was there and I forgot where it was. Not a good sign. First match, it was, if I can recall, I'm going to butcher his name. It was Barbaro Cavernario versus Leah Rush. Leah Rush won. Great match, to be honest. Then the great Kid Lycos versus Kid Lycos 2. Because, that's what Andy Quilden loves to do to us. He loves Lycos Gym versus each other, even though they literally just had a tag match in Liverpool moments before that match where they lost their titles. I think it was the TNT titles. I honestly forgot. Kid Lycos 2 won that one. Though I didn't like Kid Lycos was going to turn on him. Even though Kid Lycos was my choice to win. because of my amazing predictions based off who's on the Sheffield card today, which did not go well.
Didn't go so great.
Yeah, my prediction was not good. But if it wasn't based off the card, my prediction to win was Robbie Eagles. Big up Robbie Eagles. His match was against Cameron Kai. Cameron Kai, who's obviously being built to be the next big junior wrestler in Rev Pro, beat Robbie Eagles, which broke my heart because Robbie. Although Cameron Kai did get injured through the match, which I thought was staged, but now that I think about it, I don't think it was staged. And I'll explain more in a bit. And then last qualifying match was Robbie X versus Dante Martin, where it looked like Robbie X was going to win, but then Dante kind of just got over him and won, which was definitely something because I was not expecting that because Robbie X is, as he calls himself, the best junior heavyweight. So it was a bit of a shocker to see him take a loss to Dante Martin, but is what it is. Then there was the interval, best time of the year.
Best time.
And then best time of the year, the interval. And then we had two like normal matches that weren't tournament matches. It was Zazaya versus JJ Gale. Everyone loves Zazaya. Who doesn't love Zazaya? Great guy. Great match. Great guy. Zazaya won, as he should. Great match. Really, if you don't know who Zazaya is, check him out. He is brilliant. I love him. Never met the guy, but I love him. And then afterwards it was Luke Jacobs versus, I'm gonna butcher his name, one called Manders. That's it. Two cowboys, two heavy hitters, lots of heavy hitting taking place, lots of cowboy hat sharing taking place. It was a great match. It was great. I honestly for a minute did think one called Manders was gonna win, even though it didn't seem likely. To me it did. But eventually Luke Jacobs did pick up the win and retain his title. And then we had the final of the British J Cup, which was between Leo Rush, Cameron Kai, Kid Lycos 2, and Dante Martin. When Cameron Kai was making his entrance, the junior champion Will Cross came out and attacked him with Leighton Buzzard's walking stick, which did make me giggle, to be honest, even though it shouldn't have. So he injured his leg again. Well, it was more his knee. Injured his knee again, so went backstage. Didn't think he'd be competing. All the other competitors came out one by one. The match began. And then he came back out. And I was like, why have you gone back in if you're going to come back out again? And then he got out straight away. Because it's like a last person standing sort of match. So you have to get like pinfalls on each person. And then, yeah. So then Kid Lycos 2 pinned Cameron Kai first, which didn't surprise me because Cameron Kai generally did not look okay. He was limping. It was not nice to watch. I don't know why he came back out. He shouldn't have, but he did. And then it looked like it was going to be Leo Rush and Dante Martin teaming against Kid Lycos 2 because obviously they're a part of Top Flight together. So that seemed the most likely. But when Dante was pinning Kid Lycos 2, Leo Rush pulled him away. So there was a bit of tension there. And then Kid Lycos 2 just rolled out the ring. So we had a bit of Dante versus Leo to, get them on bad terms. To make it easier for Kid Lycos 2. But then that didn't work. And I forgot who pinned him, but he got pinned. And Kid Lycos 2 was out. So the last two men standing were Dante Martin and Leo Rush. And after many hits, Leo Rush got the win. So he won the J Cup. In a very nice little fashion of events. Crowd was shit, but the show was good. That's all that matters.
Yeah, the actual like how it was all set up from your videos didn't look fantastic either.
Yes.
We do have a comment.
Oh, do we?
It says Jenna's Corner is my favourite part of the lives. The rest of the lives failed in comparison.
Who commented that?
So thanks for that, Sam.
Wow, thank you. I feel honoured.
That was actually my YouTube account, but
you commented that yourself. Thank you. That's great.
Certainly the best part of this week's show, because
it's actually something to talk about.
Yeah, because it was actually so. My other bit of the other news, I was scraping the barrel again, so I kind of had to leave some bits out of SmackDown and Raw just so I could have some other news section. AJ Styles returns next week, but apparently his contract is expiring soon. So it'd be interesting how that one works. I don't know. I'm not sorry, AJ Styles, but I'm not exactly thrilled to know that you're coming back. I kind of completely forgot about you until
poor AJ.
Until you came up and said it was returning. So next week on SmackDown, there is something called a dumpster match, which is between Chelsea Green and Mitchin. I don't actually know what a dumpster match is. I can't say I've ever seen one. It's the first ever women's dumpster match. So I don't know if there's been any men's dumpster matches before. Yes, there has. It says dumpster matches, WWE's most unforgettable balls. So it sounds like there's been some great ones. So there has been a couple. Cactus Jack and Chainsaw Charlie versus the New Age Outlaws. The New Age Outlaws are in another match against the same people in that same year. The New Age Outlaws were in another one in 1998 against Terry Funk and Mick Foley. Quite recently, there's been two. Well, I say recently, not really. Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins had one in 2014 on Raw. Braun Strowman had one against Kalisto on Raw of 2017. And then that's it. I don't actually quite know what happens. I'm guessing that you have to put the other person in the dumpster. It is what I'm guessing.
Seems most logical.
So in the wild world of WWE, few match types bring the same level of chaos and unpredictability. I don't agree with that at all. As the dumpster match, introduced as a way to elevate the stakes, the object is simple but brutal. Stuff your opponent into the dumpster and slam the lid. So it's basically like a coffin match in a dumpster. That's less exciting than what I thought it would be. So next week on SmackDown, there is also a Tag Team Championship triple threat ladder match. I won't be able to say that one quickly, between DIY Bloodline and Street Profits. Shawn Michaels has teased big changes coming to NXT. Shane was on the same flight as the Young Bucks to travel to Grand Slam, but Shane apparently says that it was complete coincidence. But again, I suppose we never know that. And then Saraya I've got singed on here. She's singed a new year.
She singed a contract.
She singed a 1-year contract extension with AEW.
Wow.
Should be signed.
Love to hear her sing.
Yeah, it's she's singed a new contract with AEW.
Maybe she's better at singing than she is at wrestling.
I think she's all right. I know you don't particularly like her. I think it's a weird one. Do I think she was probably better in WWE than AEW? Probably.
What about the retirement home?
The only time she's probably been, it's probably one of the highlights of her career was when she won the title at Wembley. But that's the only time AEW, I think, have used her well. WWE used her a little bit better, but I can't really remember massively things being memorable.
What, from WWE?
Yeah.
The trios thing they had going on. I forgot whose trio she was in, but she was in a trio of was it Charlotte and Becky? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To be honest,
they had the Bellas, and then they had Sasha and Tamina and Naomi.
things have been more memorable for her outside of wrestling, to be honest.
Have they?
If you don't know what I'm alluding to, then
Oh.
yeah, they've been more memorable outside of
Oh.
wrestling.
Oh
But
wow.
yeah. So yeah,
Cheers for that.
that's the end of
Kind of
that one.
forgot that existed, to be honest.
Yeah, before we get completely banned. So yeah, that was I couldn't help myself. Or neither could she, to be fair, but there we are. Oh my god. So yeah, that was that. What's going on? What's going on is that me, Devon, and Ryan watched 1 to 3 of Mr. McMahon yesterday. I am yet to decide whether we're going to come on. I think what we'll do is we'll find out when people are free. We'll do a live on a Sunday that is half what's gone on that week in really short form, and then the other half we'll do episode 1 to 3 of that, and then we'll do the same the week after. So yeah, that's it really. Been a pretty slow week. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit quicker now, a little bit better, hopefully, with Bad Blood coming up, because I think WWE have built that to be quite a big one. They put some really big matches in there, so hopefully I can pull that one off. But yeah, that's it. I think this is potentially the shortest live stream we've ever done. It's not my fault. The wrestling was crap this week, so yeah, that's it
I can
really.
talk about today's New Japan if that makes it longer.
You go for it. Jones'
Yay!
corner's still up anyway, so
Yeah, it's still my corner. You
yeah.
invaded my corner with Soraya. How could you?
Well, she did
Now
that to herself.
Soraya's been in my corner. That's really mean.
She did that to herself. It wasn't anybody else's fault.
Today was Destruction in Kobe. Hooray! First match: Yota Tsuji versus Jeff Cobb for the TV title. What a match! Jeff Cobb all the way though. I'm a Jeff Cobb lover. Jeff Cobb won, as he should. Next match was. I've honestly forgotten the card. That's not a good sign.
Oh, I did go and watch it this morning. Little funny story. I did go and watch it
Oh.
this morning on my completely legal website.
Oh,
And
not a pirate one. Not pirated this time. It was legal. New
it
Japan
was,
World.
yeah. No, it was, yeah, completely legal. Cough, cough.
Completely legal.
Yeah. I clicked on it this morning because I was going to look at the card and see if it was worth watching. But a big screen for my antivirus software came up and said, we've just saved you from getting a virus. But I've clicked on it now, and I think it was just lying earlier on, and it was just the morning. So, yeah, you go for it. Sorry, I did a random story there.
I'm trying to find the card now because I've honestly forgotten what happened next. Give me a moment. That's what happened next. Okay, I've remembered. Next we had Gabe Kidd versus Hiroki Goto for Gabe Kidd's title. I forgot what it's called. Let me do some thinking here. I've still forgotten what it's called. Anyways, so that happened. Gabe Kidd attacked Goto before the match and retained his title. Well done, Gabe Kidd. Next we had my favourite, TMDK, the Mighty Don't Kneel. They were introducing a new member today, and I'm very chuffed with it. So it was Zack Sabre Jr. and Kosei Fujita against just 5 guys, except there was only 3 of them today. It was Taichi, Sanada, and Michinoku, and they announced their new member, Ryohei Oiwa, he's from New Japan, but he did an excursion in Noah for a year, and had really good matches with Kaito Kiyomiya, both with him and against him, because they were a tag team for a bit before they split up. So yeah, they announced Oiwa as their new member, which is really good because of the a little Three Musketeers thing they had going on in 2022 between the three of them. And then Zack recruited Vegeta, and now he's recruited Oiwa. Makes me happy. Next match was the trios match for the openweight titles between Boltin Oleg, Tanahashi, and Yano versus House of Torture. Clearly, obviously, was going to win this one because they ain't letting House of Torture win because they know how much the fans hate them, but are still shoving them in matches for some reason. And then
How many more trios matches were there? Were there 7 or 8 or 9 more?
no, because it was the big show. They're not going to shove trios matches.
They normally do that. They normally have like 6 trios matches on the same card.
This card they only had 4.
Still enough.
But I've skipped 2 of them.
Okay.
Because they didn't really mean anything. Obviously the champions won, and then ELP came out, and he announced he was not going to be heel. He was going to be a good guy, even though he'd been teasing joining House of Torture for a few weeks now. He went against them, and he remained a good guy. Thank you, ELP. Next match was for the junior heavyweight titles. It was Doki versus Kanemaru. I'm not saying his first name. Again, obvious who was going to win, although Kanemaru did prove himself to be a good competitor, even though you wouldn't think that because he's in House of Torture. But Doki won, as he should. Thank you, Doki. I'm not this is my main event. I'm on to the 7th match. It was for the Never Openweight title between Shingo Takagi versus Hanare. I don't actually know why they're still doing this match. It's happened like 6 times now, which is crazy to me. But it happened again, and Hanare lost his title to Shingo. And then Oiwa came out and announced he wanted to face Shingo for the title, even though he just came back to New Japan. So he's already got a title shot, which baffles me. But I love the guy, so I can't really hate on him because he's really talented, and I'd love to see the match. I just think it's a bit too early.
I'm just reading about it. He threatened the title opportunity. I've never heard that before. I'm going to break your belt.
Yeah.
No,
belt breaking happens a lot.
No, that
here.
was in the match before. Ignore me. That was.
Yeah. Belt breaking is quite normal.
Okay.
Yeah, David Finlay broke Will Ospreay's belt. Oh. I'm alone. Don't know what's happened there. I'm meant to be. Anyways, I'm just going to continue. Next match was between Yoshihashi and David Finlay for the Global Heavyweight title, where I can't remember what happened, to be honest, but David Finlay retained it. Who's surprised? David Finlay. I don't really understand the match, though, to be honest, because Yoshihashi is obviously in the tag team with Hiroki Goto, so I'm not really quite sure why they're getting, like, singles opportunities right now, but it's working for them, and they're proving to be good competitors, so I'm not going to complain. It just doesn't make much sense to me. And finally, the main event for the IWGP World Heavyweight title. Tetsuya Naito, Great Okan. Where it was proved that Great Okan can wrestle. Crazy. And it was proved that Tetsuya Naito can't wrestle. Even more crazy. Because usually it's the other way around. Usually it's Great Okan who can't wrestle and it's Naito who can. But as Naito's got older, it's quite obvious he can't do what he used to be able to do. Great Okan made himself look like a good competitor for the title. And there were times where it generally like he was going to win. But he didn't. And I was very sad by that. So Naito retained his title. So it's going to be Naito versus Zack Sabre Jr. on October 14th. Which is brilliant. And that's the whole card in about 5 minutes. Hope you enjoyed.
What's going on?
I don't know, you dipped.
What is going on?
You left and I got scared.
There we go. It randomly kicked me out of StreamYard completely. It's never done that before. Like,
I just kept going.
So yeah, that was maybe it was like Soraya's people.
Maybe.
They just
It was Soraya's
maybe.
people calling.
Also, at one stage, I will just make one last joke. You mentioned the 5 guys before.
Just 5
That's
guys.
also what happened. Just 5.
Just 5 guys. Just 5.
Soraya, if you're watching this, don't come for me. It was just a joke. So yeah, that is literally it.
That's all I can think of.
So hopefully we'll have a little bit of a longer one next week. I think we shall.
Hopefully Soraya won't be shoved in my corner this time.
Blood. Oh yeah, she has taken over your corner.
Yeah,
as
well. Soraya's just in my corner.
Which is not a good thing, to be honest.
No, it's really not.
Really bad influence. Really bad influence.
It is a bad influence.
I can't find Jenna's corner to take it down, to be honest. So I think we might just have to leave it on.
She's stuck in my corner.
Oh yeah, no, I can't.
She's gone.
Taking it down.
Yes.
The corner's been closed for this week. So the usual kind of things: our Instagram, our Patreon, obviously the merch is there. The Cebu video that Carl did is still around. Yeah, so we obviously, like I said, we'll do the review of the first 3 episodes on next week's probably. While we were watching the shows yesterday as well, we agreed that we would like to watch the No Holds Barred film on stream, just because it's supposed to be absolutely terrible. So yeah, we'll try and source that. We'll do a live stream on that as well. And I think that's literally it. Is there anything that you would like to shout out, Jenna, before we go off air?
No.
Okay.
Nothing.
That is cool. So yeah, like I say, Bad Blood next week. Hopefully we'll have more to talk about. And yeah, see you then.